This week we're sketching noses. So to sketch a nose, I'm going to use a 2H for outlining and laying out. I'm going to use a 2B for my lighter values, and I'm going to use my Prismacolor for my darker values. I've got my trusted kneaded eraser, and also I'm using my phone for a reference image. So when I draw a nose, I'm basically thinking about it as 3 spheres. So I'll show you on my reference picture. So this is like the ball of the nose, but then there's also a ball here and a ball here. So when I draw those, that first one, so that's like the tip of the nose. And then the other two, like that's where the bottom of that tip of the nose is. But then if I draw a line straight over, like the nostrils are a little bit lower than the ball of the nose. So I'm going to put one there, and then I'm going to put one there. And that should be enough. And they're not quite the same size, but you know what? Nobody's face is perfectly symmetrical. So actually I'm going to switch over to my 2B, and I'm going to start to kind of draw some of these shadow areas in. So it doesn't absolutely follow that top. So it kind of, that nostril kind of comes up and escapes the orbit of that circle that I've drawn there. It kind of comes up, and then it kind of reattaches itself to the tip of the nose. It kind of comes around like that. And then this, like that's like the dark shadow underneath the ball of the nose. So some of these areas I'm going to go back and darken in, but I'm not drawing lines with my number 2. I'm going to draw lines with my 2H, and I'm going to probably jump back to it in a minute to start marking where my highlights are. But then that kind of curves around. So you can see that these shadows are falling in between where those 2 spheres are touching each other, because that's like the tip of the nose kind of drops down here and kind of does something like that. And actually the nostril kind of flares in like that. I may have made that a little bit too long there. Shorten it up a little bit. There we go. And then over here, should be doing that. Just told you I wasn't going to do that, and then I did it. So that's the shape of that nostril, and then that's the shape of this nostril. Now the nostrils, because of the way it's shaped, like this nostril and this nostril are 2 different shapes. And some of that has to do with where the light is coming from. It's not necessarily that this guy's got crooked nostrils, although he might. They might be a little... And that shadow actually comes all the way down. Even that is really dark in there, but it's still pretty dark. It's like that kind of shape. And then there's this, I'm going to draw this real light. There's this highlight right here, and then there's another one like kind of up here, like above the ball. And I think that's enough to where I can start darkening in some of these areas. So I can tell because this is darker, and I can tell by the way the shadows are falling that the light source is coming from this general direction. So I'm going to use also, I'm going to apply what I know about shading basic forms. And I'm going to use that to make this look more three-dimensional. And then this, the inside of his nostril, this is a really hard line right here. And then it softens because it blends into the rest of his skin. So I'm going to darken that in pretty good. And then I'm going to kind of come out, and there's a little bit of a shadow there. So it's not totally white right there. Actually, it's not totally white on that side of his nose at all. So, but it is where the nose kind of touches the side of his face. It is a little bit darker, but then it blends. And it blends into the rest of his face too. So I'm going to smear that out. And he's got this weird little thing here. So I'm just trying to draw what I see right now, and that's the hardest thing. Is I'm not necessarily trying to make it look like a nose, just trying to make it look like the thing that I'm looking at, if that makes any sense. And he's got a little bit of facial hair here. I'm not going to mess with that. I'm just going to leave that the way it is. This is kind of a darker shadow right here. And then it kind of softens up as it comes around. And then this kind of blends. It's a smooth blending, but it happens quick. Right here where the underside of his nose kind of turns into in the front part of his nose. So I'm going to go around, and I've already got some graphite on my finger, so I'm just going to use that. And I'm going to reshape this a little bit here. Put the side values in. And then this is, now I'm gonna put this in too. You know what, I might have gone too dark over here. So I'm going to take my kneaded eraser. And I'm just going to tap. So don't, like when you're using your kneaded eraser, like if I'm erasing big areas, I'll like wipe my eraser over my drawing. But if you're just picking up little spots like this, you want to just like dab your eraser on the surface. So that comes down like that. And this is all very, very dark right through here. Man, look at that. Just putting that shadow in really, really helped create the form of his nose. So then this should be a little bit lighter over here. There we go. Now we're cooking. Now we're drawing. And I'm going to use my finger, kind of blend that out a little bit. And he does have like pores. So, and well, I said that like he's unique in that way. Everybody has pores. But I'm going to go through and kind of put them in. Actually, it's kind of dark. I'm going to use my 2H for this. And as, like, the pores are very pronounced on the tip of his nose. I don't know if you can see that, but if I look real close, I'll zoom way in on it. There's almost like a darker spot, and then it gets lighter. So I'm going to use my 2H and kind of, make those a little bit bigger. And then over here we've got it's almost like the value, he's got these spots of darker value, and it's just an uneven blending almost. So I'm going to go through and just kind of like put some of those things in where there's some spots, not necessarily dots, but just some darker values that are left unblended, just some tiny little unblended shapes here and there. And then I'll go and I'll put like a little, shoot. So now those look a little bit more like pores. And I can pick at this a little bit more and just kind of smooth those values out and try to make the darker spots darker, and get a little bit darker over here maybe if I can. But then again, don't forget to, what's today? For me, today's the 6th. Don't forget to date your sketches. And that's it.